Well, certainly it's disappointing not to get the result. You know, we had prepared thoroughly to face Montreal and the things that we needed to do well, things we needed to be aware of. And I would say that without a shadow of a doubt, everything that we thought they would do, they did. And you know, we talked about the first goal and how important that was. They're a team that if they get up on you, they can bunker down even more. They're very organized. You know, and unfortunately they got the first goal, and that played into their hands. That allowed them to drop a little deeper, and you know, we had chances, we had the ball, but you know, I have to credit Montreal with how organized they were. They weren't easy to break down. You know, we had plenty of shots. I think it was 24 on the day. You know, had a lot of possession. We knew that would be the case. We knew they would hit us on counterattacks. We knew they'd hit us on set pieces, and if you look at the two goals they scored, one was a set piece and one was a counterattack. So it's disappointing that we let them hurt us twice in moments that we prepared for all week, and that's one of the things I mentioned to the guys. You know, there's been a pattern with the goals we've been giving up, and you know, it's typically the set pieces which we've given up, which for me, no excuse. It's mark your guy, win for the first ball, win the second ball, and you know, it's interesting. We've been hit on a couple set pieces. It's not been the first ball; it's been the regain, and we've been a bit disorganized on the second ball, and that's exactly what happened on the first goal. And you know, that opened the game up, allowed them to sit a little deeper, forced us to you know, push our numbers higher, our lines higher, and get numbers forward. You know, the second goal was a backbreaker a bit because now we had to get even more aggressive. I credit the guys again for coming back and getting the goal to go 2-1, but in the end we fell short. And you know, it's probably in some ways a good thing because we've been behind in several games, and we've come back, and in this game we couldn't come back, and so we got to get back to work on Monday, and we got to correct some things. There's a lot of things that we're doing well. If we continue to stay focused on the process, this was never going to happen overnight, our evolution as a club, but we're doing a lot of very good things. Anytime you're getting 21 shots against Red Bull, 24 shots against Montreal, it means you're doing a lot right, but we're also making some mistakes that we can't make if we want to win games and eventually be a club that's making the playoffs. You know, whether we won this game or lost it like we did, we still had 32 games left, and you know, there's a lot of teams that start slow, there's some that start hot. In the end, you still have to have a consistent season. And so there's a lot of points on the table. There's a lot of games left. You know, we can't get too low here, but we also have to wake up a bit with some things, and we need to sort some things out next week.
What's it like to look at that stat sheet and see you dominating shots, time of possession, duels, and then the only stat you lose is the scoreboard? How difficult is that?
Well, we knew that would be a little bit of the case. You know, part of that's their style, and you know, again, credit to them. You know, they're organized, and you know, they went into Seattle and got a result, and came in here and got a result. Two very difficult places to play. So I think it shows their organization, their belief, shows that they're effective in how they play. You know, not surprising that we had as much of the ball as we did. We knew that'd be the case. You know, I'm surprised that we had 24 shots and only scored one goal. And I'm disappointed that we gave up 2 goals and 7 shots. Disappointed that they hit us, you know, basically in the 2 ways that we prepared for them to hit us, and you know, we didn't do a good enough job in managing those 2 things.
Coach, you'd said that they did go into Seattle and got a result. They just got one here, 2 harder places to play in the league. What can you learn from them now that you're about to head out on the road for 2 games yourself? and to find success on the road in this league?
Well, I don't know that we'll learn from them, but because I think we play a bit differently. Every team plays has their own way and their own philosophy, and there's no right or wrong. I respect what they do, but what I will say is, for them to get 2 results like they did, I think it shows that you can go on the road and get results in this league. We haven't over the years done that very often, so we're hoping to change that starting with Saturday.
Is it a good time to play Seattle? Or is it? I guess it's always a good time to play Seattle. Do you feel like hitting at the right time after these 2 home games?
Well, again, I think the games are the games, and every game's important. Obviously, Seattle's a derby. It's a rivalry game. But for me, it's no bigger than any other game. Certainly for our supporters it is, and we want to get a result in the game, but we want to get a result every game. I believe in this team. I told them after the game they got to keep focused on the process. We can't point fingers or panic. We got to keep a steady hand here, keep plugging away. But we also have to look at ourselves in the mirror, and we need to correct some things. Because we were good enough today to win that game if we don't make, again, and I'm sounding like a broken record the last couple weeks, but if we don't keep making those critical mistakes that we've been making, it's disappointing to dominate like we did and not get the result. So that means we gotta sort some things out in training.
Coach, Caleb, were there times in the first half at least where you felt maybe the guys were trying to be a little too technical at the top of the 18? Were you hoping that they would find shots a little bit earlier, or is that the way you want them to play?
No, I thought definitely we could have when we got in around the 18. And listen, they do a good job at taking the space away behind. And we knew that. Their back line's very organized, very comfortable, sitting deep. Nesta and Ferrari, they do a great job of not letting you get behind them, and they get you kind of right in that distance from goal where if you try to pull the trigger, they'll step and block it, but they don't open themselves up to allow us to slip a little ball in behind you. So I thought we could have pulled the trigger a little bit more and had a few more half chances. You start shooting from distance, now they have to step out, which opens up a bit more space in behind. I thought we were maybe too patient at times, yeah.
Coach, when you said it yourself that this team has struggled on the road over the years, what do you do heading into these road games to really change that and try and get some wins on the road for you?
Well, I think, again, it's a new team, and I've not dwelled in the past or talked about the past because a lot of these guys know nothing about the past. They weren't here. So I think that can be played up too much, the past, and I've really tried to focus on, now and what we're going to do moving forward. So the way I look at it, we're 0-0 on the road in this new team and under this new regime.
Coach, you played the same lineup for both home games. Are you planning on making any kind of changes at all heading into Seattle?
We'll have to look at that. We'll make those decisions this week.
Last one for Caleb, please.
A lot of attention paid to Diego Valeri. Seemed like a lot of triple teaming. What did you think of how they scouted him and how he responded?
Well, again, I think they were very organized, so it was tough for him to find a ton of space. But he still got the ball a lot. I haven't looked at I'll look at the trends and like we do every game. Look at every player. Look at some of the the stats. But I still felt like he got the ball quite enough to do what we needed him to do. Again, 24 shots. I think that's the most this club's ever had. So again, stats are stats. They don't always tell the story. In the end, we got to get results. But stats do paint a picture of the performance sometimes outside of the result. So I do believe that we're performing, especially in attack, well enough to win games. But defensively, and even defensively, we're not giving up a ton of shots, but we're shooting ourselves in the foot. And so we need to correct that.
Thanks, everyone.